Hi again. What the fuck is wrong with my throat? Alright. I realized in my last video, I didn't really get that screenshot very good. The video I made about being pissed off because many reasons I can go into. Sorry. I'm still not used to being recorded and, so my hands are shaking a little bit, like, I have a tripod, but I didn't feel like getting it out. Alright. So I figured she, because she called me a white supremacist. I know I need to put it out there better, because if I don't, people are just gonna say that I'm lying. So, holy shit, I gotta find it. Alright, so she said this. Can you see it? I told you my fucking hand is shaking. I don't know why it won't focus. I don't know if you can see it. Oh my god. It's literally like, I don't know what the fuck. And my hands are shaking. Can you see it? Maybe if I do this, you can see it, and then you can like screenshot it or zoom in on it. So let me just start from the fucking beginning, because I didn't actually go through the, what do you call it? The comments. So basically she said, okay, let me start from the beginning, because if I don't start from the very beginning about like what I said first, then it's not going to make sense. Because she was saying how like the only people who say goth is apolitical are conservatives and all this stuff. So I was basically saying like I don't have any problem with people being left wing. I don't know what happened to my whole comment, probably because I was trying to only get her comments in there. Either way, this stuff is on the internet, whatever. But I was saying how it comes off like projection, because it seems like these people, because she was saying how like they can't stand the idea of like you having politics. No one cares that you have politics. We all have politics. Anyway, and I was saying how this is like, you need to have an open space, because if you don't have an open space, then that's how echo chambers start. And you know what the problem with it also is that if you're basing everything about who is hateful and you're using that as an excuse to kick people out, then you're going to call whatever you want to call hateful. Because I say tomato and you say tomato. Tomato, tomato. Tomato, tomato. Let's let the whole thing go. Because at the end of the day, we're always going to fucking disagree. But I'm not going to stop doing what I want to do, because you're not going to stop doing what you want to do. But I guess because she thinks she's older and all that, that means she's some kind of authority figure, and everybody like simps to her and stuff. But anyway, I said they can't stand views that oppose their own. I don't know if you could see that. So basically she was like, right, because putting Nazis, incels, self-proclaimed misogynists, this is the list, and chauvinists in the same social space with the people they hold intense hatred for is definitely a good idea. Smug. Way to out yourself if is not being an actual goth, and also very bad at reading people. I'm really good at reading people. Don't presume my political affiliations, but she assumed I was a white supremacist. You would be incorrect every time. So I said, I know it's easy to say everyone slightly on the right of Karl Marx is an incel or a Nazi. But for one, I do not like people like Andrew Wilson. I don't like him. And I wouldn't even say he's conservative. He's like in the manosphere, but still, that's a lot of people get lumped together. Or just Pearly Things, or any racist person. All I'm saying is that it comes off as a gaslighting mind game. Like, I have no problem with people seeing things from their own political point of view. But the idea that compulsory conformity is a goth value is just a stretch. And in reality, it seems now that the political dynamics have shifted, that it's more than not leftists in general who push their ideological conformity instead of challenging the status quo. That's why it's important that goths should stay a diverse space, because, for instance, not everyone may even come from the same economic, religious, or ethnic background. So we have to keep it an open space. The moment it stops being an open space is where echo chambers breed, and specifically amongst leftist women. Let me find it. There is a trend of using things such as makeup, pretty shallow if you ask me, to bully someone, especially on platforms like TikTok, that are already pretty leftist. Like on any person who thinks differently, it's just an excuse to bully people online who love the music just as much as anyone else, but by people who say they accept people's identities while choosing whose identities matter. What happens is a chain of radicalized individuals on both sides dehumanizing each other. Also, I never once said you were leftist, but you wouldn't be offended if you were not. Because I was calling out leftist women. And she kind of self-identified as that. And I kind of would already know that because she said, all that list of ists and isms I was talking about. So I said, I admit that I did stoop down to some levels, but at the same time, she called me a white supremacist, so I really don't care what, I say to her. And I'm not the only one who noticed the straw man tactics leftists have used to win every argument, which is why buzzwords like incel and Nazi. Also, can I say something? I also kept seeing my stuff disappearing, so if I did add more and more, it's because I kept seeing my comments disappear and I couldn't explain why. And also I had a virus on my phone, so it kept going to these ads. Anyway, I said I'm not the only one who noticed the straw man tactics leftists have used to win every argument, which is why buzzwords like incel and Nazi have worked for so long. You can't redefine and reframe things before an actual discourse can be had. Just so you know, again, I'm not lying. This is all stuff that I said. And people, and especially on platforms like TikTok that are already pretty lifted. Wait, what? Oh, sorry. Oh, okay. Before a discourse can be had. And people, and especially working class people who are just trying to live their lives and be happy, are sick and tired of it. So this is the dang one where she said I was a white supremacist, y'all. I don't know if you can see it. It's like this shit don't want to focus. Anyway, he really went for it for 3 whole comments because I'm a genuine person. I'm trying to talk this shit out to justify being a white supremacist. You're not a goth. Deal with it. Like I said before in my first video. Alright. I said not only am I not a white supremacist, but I'm Hispanic. You rely on calling people who disagree with you white supremacists. You obsess over the 90s. Instead of understanding that the progressive left has become oppressive to anyone who disagrees with them, and that includes more conservative people. You only talk about controversial opinions when they aren't really controversial at all. Like how a lot of lefty goth women will just go on and on about being fetishized, but they never want to call out the women that are doing it. But also it's just the same stuff over and over. They have nothing new to say. Anyway, I said, thank you immensely for proving my point further. And if my comments are too long for your audience, that says more about their attention span. Her attention span, I guess. She's just trying to ignore what I'm saying instead of actually engaging with me like I'm a human being. So, she shared, if I can find it. I'm trying to freaking find out where the fuck that went. Well, anyway, I'm trying to remember what she said, but she was talking about colorism, right? About how basically there's colorism, and that means that somehow has something to do with me. Somehow that proves that I'm a white supremacist. Which I'm pretty sure colorism is called colorism because it's colorism, not because it's white supremacy, or they would call it white supremacy. Anyway, I don't know what the hell. I got so many fucking screenshots of all kinds of stuff, like clothes and everything. But anyway, let me go to some of the other comments. How about that? And what I mean why I stooped down is because I was saying, like, how, like, people in affluent countries, like I said in my first video, they're the ones who believe in all this stuff. So I was like, my stepdad said you're pretty retarded. And oh my god, I said the R word. Oh my god, I said the R word. And she's like, oh my gosh, you're using ableist slurs now? Like, she cares. And I'm like, you're not disabled. You're not disabled. You can think whatever you want about it, but you can't just go around calling people a white supremacist, which can get you canceled, can have, like, people attack you, because it's happened to me before. People have lost their jobs. Cancel culture is a real thing. So even when it's on a smaller scale like this, I'm not gonna just let her say that I'm a white supremacist. You could call it whatever you want. You can say that it's petty. She shouldn't have called me that. So I said that, you kind of messed with the wrong person, because I'm not gonna just let this happen, because it's all just, like I said, using people and using groups. She doesn't really feel outraged about me using the R word. Ableist. Again, a lefty. I didn't call anyone with a disability any names. I called her that. But, actually my stepdad did, but I thought it was pretty funny if I told her that, because she doesn't seem to understand. Oh my god, are you saying anything? Because this is what I was saying. I was basically just calling out her behavior. And here, I just want to show you some more, what's it called? Comments that she hearted and stuff, like I was talking about in my first video. This guy said, you may not fuck with politics, but politics will fuck with you. Apolitical is a political stance. It's acceptance. What the hell? This is like, I'm like over here so confused. Like, what the fuck are these people going? Is it political or is it not political? Because her whole video was basically, Goth isn't rooted in politics, but, and I'll explain a little bit later what I'm trying to explain. So, because it has nothing that she wants to utilize things like I can prove it. Just wait. So she hearted that one, and then I put, or this person said, every time I hear someone say that someone should keep their politics to themselves, it's always a conservative. So she liked that one. I don't know if you could see it. I don't know. This is actually annoying the fuck out of me that I can't get it on camera. Anyway. Just so you know. And either way, I'm telling the truth. I have no reason to just get on here and say all this stuff. Unless it happened. But anyway. It's always a conservative. She liked that one. Christian goth because goth is goth. She liked that one too. Keep that in mind. Okay. Then she liked this comment that said, conservative is the opposite of alternative. Okay, but like I explained in my first video, like, even the people in the economic forum are pushing left-wing ideology. So exactly, the richest, most powerful people on this planet are pushing your politics. And alternative to what? Because it depends on what you're an alternative to. Because Alex, wait. And I'm like, who says? Who says? Okay. You know who we're rebelling against? You know what we're the alternative to? People like you. That's what we're rebelling against. They want to say it's about, like, societal norms and all these vague ass things, because conservatives are traditional. So, like, they like all the norms. I'm like, okay, well, are you going to get rid of everything normal? Because if you cut off all the legs of a chair, it's not a fucking chair anymore. It's not going to operate. Because you can't just get rid of everything that's slightly normal. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I told you I'm not very good at recording, because, like, I'm having to hold this fucking phone this entire time. Wait a minute. Angela Benedict. She said, this person is trying to say that it's hypocrisy also, I think, right? Yeah, this person is trying to say the opposite. I'm going to read part of it because only part of it's in the screenshot. She said, around fellow... I'm assuming it's a woman. I don't know why I feel that way, but... Around fellow goths, unless the other person talks about it, and I'm always told to leave the subculture and say I'm not a real goth or poser, just because I'm not left-wing or liberal. That's not having tolerance or respect for my beliefs and different opinions. Tolerance and acceptance is liberals' highest principle, but I only see the hypocrisy. Double standard and entitlement to hate, lie, discriminate, to segregate, divide, and promote targeted violence and use cancel culture against innocent people that are Republican and right-wing just because opinions are different. She said, as a Republican, do you approve of rights, protections, healthcare, and bodily autonomy being taken? Edited to add that there are different types of Republicans. Wait a minute. Okay. But let me also tell you this. If I could find it. This person said, conservative is the opposite of alternative. That's the same guy. The other guy. And then Angela was like, exactly. To need to exemplify purity, strength, and mental stability. Put a dog collar on and some black lipstick on that dash. There. The fuck? Okay. So again, this is a common thing that I see like left-wing goths do. Well, they'll just say like, you only dress that way. And I'm guessing that's what she's getting at. And then it also said, this is goth princess. I agree, goth has always been inclusive for all backgrounds. So being a conservative goth goes against the whole point. Do they not see that they're contradicting themselves in real time? And she hearted this one. The modern day conservative is certainly racist, since they support Trump, who is also racist. So, she wants to use Republican or whatever as like a tool. Like I said, she used everything as a tool to these people. So they're just like, and because there's another one where she says, many Republicans don't support MAGA, but I can see you do. Keep trying, Peeping Girl. That's her talking to me. You are never going to get picked. Because these people think that. Because they want validation from the whole world. That must be why I'm disagreeing with her. It's projection. Like I said again. Okay, so she wants to use certain groups of Republicans. Like the tiniest little bits of Republicans that don't like MAGA. Against MAGA. So she can look like she's like accepting of people. It's just the MAGA people that are like evil and racist. But it's just using people again. You don't need to prove why they're racist because it's already assumed that they're racist. And then this girl says something about that you're harming people with your policies and all this stuff. And she said that, Angela said, again, I'm not lying. That makes sense to me, she said. You're not part of the community there. Therefore, you don't have the temperament that one would have to get involved in such a community, which involves things such as empathy, acceptance, tolerance, and we have a lot of people within the community that conservatives really fucking hate. Okay, so that's what I mean. So if they just say you hate people, then you hate people because they said so. And this is what I'm trying to say, you know? You're talking about the temperament it takes to be in part of such a community. The temperament is that I like the damn music. The temperament is that I don't carry my politics everywhere I go. I'm also me, aside from my beliefs. I'm also me. And we don't really hate these people. They just, because you have a different opinion on something, and I can prove this to you, honestly, but I can keep saying I'm going to prove this to you. Let's see. I'm trying to find that one. Okay. I don't know if you could see it. She said to somebody, in what ways could you consider yourself politically conservative? Right now, a lot of people are being harmed by policies and legislations. People in our own community, women, the LGBTQ... I can't say it fast. Anyway, LGBTQIA community, and we got lots of those in the goth community. Now they're being stripped of their rights, and they can't even use public bathrooms. This is why I often find myself very confused when people say they're conservative and goth simultaneously. So if you don't want biological males in your bathroom, because let's be honest, I know a lot of y'all just want to go in there and use the bathroom. And personally, I don't care. The problem is that there are people, literally people right now, Lily Tino. A lot of people take him seriously for some reason. But he's going into people's bathrooms, women's bathrooms, and recording himself in the mirror. And recording the people behind him and the little children behind him. He doesn't even look like a girl. And I know a lot of people are gonna fucking hate me for saying that. But let's be honest, there is such a reason for why people might do something like that. And it's not because they're trans. But it doesn't matter, because the point is, you're not biologically a female. If you looked like a female and you walked into the girl's bathroom, chances are no one's going to ask you or say anything to you because you look like a female. So you could be trans and go into the bathroom. But the problem is, a lot of people aren't given that expectation. They're not saying, like, they're not over here saying, like, acting like they're trans. They're over here like a guy in a dress with his voice down to here and a fucking beard, because y'all want to be all accepting when you're not accepting. And then you accept behavior like that. You accept the ridiculousness of it all. And you don't understand that this has been happening for years. There are literally cases of people, like young children, for instance. You have to look it up for yourself. I can't be your damn mommy and explain everything to you. But you know how they had those kids in the drag shows and they have people throwing dollar bills at them, and you have these kids, like, what was that, the original kid, his mom was obsessed with, like, the scene kids and stuff. You know who I'm talking about? Like the Party Monster and stuff. You know that movie? You know, like RuPaul and all that stuff. Like, she was obsessed with that stuff. And she had this kid doing that and hanging around these people who are also saying that they're trans or they're drag. And they use it as a fucking shield. And then a lot of these people end up turning out, and it goes completely under the rug, that a lot of these people turned out that they actually were registered sex offenders. So it's not about you. If you feel attacked, you shouldn't feel attacked if you haven't done anything. But the point is, you have to understand. You have to understand that not everyone is like you. Not everyone is just trying to use the bathroom. And it doesn't matter anyway. If I walked into the men's bathroom and everybody kicked me out, I can't be mad about that because I walked into the men's bathroom. And then you might say, well, because you look a girl. Exactly. Because you're making other people feel uncomfortable. No one's stripping your rights away, Angela. Not your rights, but no one's stripping their rights away. But she also said women, all these people, I'm harming these people for existing in my bedroom while you say I'm harming other people for existing. Fuck. Anyway, you're the only one. Dude. This is a first world problem. You know, people in other countries, like I said, my stepdad, who said you're retarded, by the way. Again, I don't give a shit if I said the R word. Make calling retards great again, okay? They have to wash their clothes by hand. They have to make... Okay. They gotta go out, right? Some of them have to go out and collect water. And you're over here arguing about you're not allowed to be in a subculture because you don't want men in women's restrooms. First world fucking problems. I know some people got it worse, and I know that it's not always good to be like, you have no problems because they have worse problems. I get that. But you're missing the point. Again, this is not a right because your rights end where mine begin. That's pretty liberal-minded from the tradition. You know, because conservatives, by the way, I know a lot of y'all are, like I said, politically illiterate. Conservative beliefs, yes, we have more traditional values because I'm a Christian. Also, not the only reason, because not everybody who's conservative is Christian. But, so yeah, we end up leaning more on, like, you know, but it turns out that, like, reality has, like, a right-leaning bias. So that's why not everybody has to be a Christian to be a conservative, but we are basing our beliefs, our actual conservative beliefs come from people like John Locke. They come from traditionally liberal-minded people. The whole concept of inalienable rights, of personal property. You want to talk about oppression, and you want to put down the ideas that stop people from being oppressed, actually oppressed. Because you don't like Donald Trump? You want to use guess what? Most Republicans voted for Donald Trump. I know you said there's a lot of people who don't support MAGA. I'm sure. There's a lot of socialists too. But most Republicans voted for Donald Trump. And it's because of shit like this. Because you can't acknowledge the truth. You can't call shit for what they are. Because you get called a racist. And then they use conservative like it's a slur. When no one's offended by being called a conservative. I'd be offended if you called me a liberal. Honestly, I think y'all are a bunch of not right in the head people. Like, mean, attack kind of people. Like your brains aren't working kind of people. Like, you got issues. That's why you're stuck in like you're in a 47-year-old body, but your head is in 13. Is at 13. I'm not a dumb person. I might have some like problems like getting my words out because I jumble things up in my brain, but that's because my shit's going so fast. This video is even longer than my first video. And this is what I'm saying. Also, you want to say, you people constantly contradict yourself. First it's about the music. Now it's not. So now somebody who's more left-leaning can be a goth more than me, even if they don't like the music. Because why? Because I've had people say that to me. That it doesn't matter if you listen to the music, you're not goth. So you're saying random-ass left-wingers are goth now because they have the right opinions, but they don't listen to the music? Make it make sense. But I'm a Christian, and I'm saying that if people could be Christian, supposedly, right? Like she was saying, Angela herself was saying, I'll find it again if I have to repeat it. Yeah, she said she liked the comment that was like not conservative, but I agree. No, that's not what she said. Okay. That one that was saying like, you know, because Christian Goths, remember I brought it up earlier in the video. Fucking A. I already said it, but the point is, because I gotta go through my phone. The point is, if you could say that people can be Christian and be goth, and then because you have Christian beliefs, you cannot believe in certain things, then you're labeled as hateful. Because they don't really mean what they're saying. They're not really saying that you can be a Christian goth. They're saying you can be a Christian goth as long as you are the right kind of Christian, as long as you don't really follow the Bible. And I'm not dumb. We shouldn't have to be able to. We shouldn't have to be forced to pick between our God and what we think is right and being a goth or being accepted as a goth. You know, the whole point, and they think that they sound so smart, but like, Not only do they contradict themselves or don't know what they're talking about, they just throw out terms. The whole point is that they're saying in order to be an individual, you have to tick all these boxes. And they don't understand that is contradicting. They think me being a conservative and being goth is contradicting. But they are the only ones that are contradicting themselves. Make that make sense. In order to be an individual, you have to have the right opinions. You gotta dress like a goth all the damn time. You gotta prove how goth you are all the time. Look at my Daria shirt. I don't care. You gotta do all these things. It's like, well, I thought at first that this subculture was like for me because I always loved, for instance, it started when I was like really young. And I just really liked everything 80s. I just don't know why. And now it's popular, but it wasn't when I was growing up. I was treated kind of weird because I never really liked a lot of new stuff. But it started with that. And so I really liked a bunch of like new wave and like all that stuff. And then I started listening to more post-punk. Like, I love the Smiths and I love the Cocteau Twins and all that in high school, especially in like early high school. So, and Susan the Banshees, I didn't even know it was goth at first. I just thought it was like post-punk because it was. And I've been interested in the subculture for such a long time, but I never dressed like it or never called myself anything until like a few years ago. I was gambling. What's the word? I forget the word. But I was, I don't know, sticking my toe in the water. And stuff, and just basically being myself, though. Like, I wasn't over here trying to be like all goth looking all the time, you know, but I was sticking my toe in the water, whatever, my finger. Anyway, and so then just one day I was like, fuck it, one day, and I just started dressing how, you know, like that more. And I was like, and yes, I do know the music, so I'm not dumb. And that's the thing, is that in case somebody wants to go on my Facebook and be like, look, you weren't always goth, I always listen to the music, or for the most part. I mean, I graduated like 7 years ago, and I've been listening to it since the beginning of high school at least. Even a little bit of Clan of Zymox, even a little bit of that stuff. And also, well, I have it in my brain if I don't freaking forget, that a lot of these things that I hear from people, especially on TikTok, is like, you can't be goth because goth is related to punk. And they'll be talking to me so smug before I'm like, yeah, I know. But if you were to tell a punk back then, you gotta think this, you gotta think that, oh my god, how dare you say that? They would probably tell you to go fuck yourself. And in this day and age, rightfully so. Honestly. And to compare the issues of yesteryear, 40 years ago, at least, to right now, is so disingenuous. You can't act as if things have not changed drastically. And you also can't act as if American and UK politics are the same. Because they weren't then and they aren't now. There are similar issues, probably, especially now. I mean, I watch a lot of stuff from the UK and what's going on over there. They got worse than us. They got people being arrested for memes, for tweets, for hate speech. Tell me how that's punk. You should be able to say whatever the fuck you want to say. I'm allowed to call you a retard, but you should be able to say what you want to say. And that's the point of punk, right? Punk was always fuck you. I'ma do what I want to do. That's what punk was. Now, oh my god, did you just use an ableist slur? Oh my god, I didn't call no one by the way. I didn't call no one, and I would not call somebody that unless they were like a capable person who's just not thinking properly, not an actual disabled person. I would never do that. So it's just moral posturing. That's all they do. So you can't conflate the UK and America, and you can't conflate right now to back then. And it seems like every time it's almost admitting that it ended a long time ago. And also, also about the whole political thing. Even back in punk, like, people had different opinions. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, they would tell you to go fuck yourself. But also, goth came from post-punk. And you know why post-punk started? Because punk became stale, and it became rigid, and it became performative. Does that strike a bell? Does that strike a bell? So they, especially like music wise, but everything wise, like it became commercialized and mainstream, and that's why. And you think that because you look different and you gatekeep, that means you aren't the mainstream? Then you wanna go on and on about fast fashion. Why is it in fast fashion? Unless it's mainstream. And it annoys me because these people can't think to connect these things, but they will go on and on about fast fashion. How dare you, you're a bad person if you wear fast fashion. Sorry, I don't have a lot of money. And I get there's problems with that. I do thrift, by the way. I'm not saying most of my stuff is thrifted. But, or I'll just take like normal clothes and, you know, and I'll put them together in my own way, in my own fashion, because I'm not a robot. But anyway, they will go on and on about fast fashion because the same reason, you know how like all those videos on YouTube right now are just like the problem with overconsumption on TikTok. Like, dude, they're doing it to get views, obviously. Not everybody's doing that, but also they're not really making the videos because they care about overconsumption. They're making the videos because everybody's making videos about overconsumption, and they see that other people are getting views, and they want to get those views. That's all it is. And that's why I get annoyed when I see that stuff. Just like I get annoyed when I see another white TikTok girl going on and on. No offense to white people. I'm half white. But the point is, going on and on about screaming Jay Hawkins. Or whatever. Like, I get it, right? But it's like they feel the need to constantly virtue signal. You know, black people could be goth. Oh, you don't say. I didn't ask. What? That's what I mean. It's all. I know my voice went. Ugh. That's what I mean. It's like, it's all performative. It's all conformity. They don't want different ideas out there because they don't want to be overshadowed because you're probably smarter than them. And you know, they just constantly just feel like they need to gatekeep things because I don't know. And I'm not putting any accusations out there, but personally, in my personal opinion, so don't attack me, my personal opinion, this is not slander. Okay, my personal opinion. I feel like this is why Angela attacked that girl a few years ago. I don't like saying attack because it is just words, but you have to understand it's a little bit more complicated than that. So this girl, Snowy Lowther, I don't remember now, but she was a blonde girl, and she was like really into like the 80s part. That's why I liked her so much. She was just nice acting. Everything was cool, and people liked her, and she's from the UK. And I just remember seeing it all go down. Because even back when I liked Angela Benedict, I kind of already felt kind of weird about her. Like the way she talks, the way she acts. Everything is just a little bit off. And like I said, performative and just kind of... I almost had the word. What's the word? Like a white wall in a... I don't mean that like her skin. I just mean like... What's the word? I was going to say like in a hospital, like a... not sanitized, but I guess that too. Sterile. Alright, so everything's weird. I don't know. She said I was bad at reading people. I don't think so. But the point is, she attacked this girl a few years ago, and it was because I think she said something like goth is a mindset, and I was like all on board, like this is like it's about the music, because I was thinking that this was like real criticism and not attacking somebody. But even back then, maybe I wasn't all on board, but you know what I'm trying to say. I was like, well, yeah, it's about music, right? But in reality, now that I think about it, if it's nobody knows what the fuck it means. Like, you might hate that Jake Monroe guy, but like I did agree with a few of his points, and don't get at me because I can agree with whoever I want to agree with. Doesn't mean I have to like them as a person. Doesn't mean, and I'm not saying I don't like him as a person, but because I don't know him personally. But like nobody knows what the fuck goth is, honestly. Like people say it's a mindset, people say it's this, people say it's that, and she attacked this girl that was a lot younger than her, and I'm not trying to say that as like an excuse every single time, but like, and because I know I'm an adult, right? And I'm pretty sure she was an adult. Maybe she was in college. I don't remember now. But for someone with such a big channel to just go after someone with such a smaller channel, they want to talk about punching down and empathy, but I'm just like over here like wasn't necessary, because even back then it came off as like excessive. It came off as like jumping the gun to go make a video about this girl, and then all your people from your channel go into her channel and start talking all this crap, explaining things. I know it's one thing to explain something, right? And I get it, right? But to just be like attacking her as if she's a threat, like as if she's threatening the subculture, this one person. And I know she had a YouTube channel that was getting a little bit popular, and I get that's why you're probably going to be in your head being like, well, just because she's talking to a bunch of people, well, they wouldn't be listening to her or like agreeing with her in the first place if they didn't already feel that way, honestly. It's like when you say that people can't be conservative in goth, it's like they're going to be that way anyway. And even if they don't tell you, they still are. Like, you might like them, and then the moment you find out that they voted for Trump, you're just like, oh my god, I can't believe this person's goth. She's not really a goth, but she was 2 seconds ago. A lot of people, unless, I don't know, because y'all love echo chambers. A lot of people, you would not know, and that's because we're not like you. We don't have to carry our politics everywhere, and we're pretty actually liberal minded, I guess you could say, even though we're conservative, because we don't really give a shit about what people are doing per se. Like, we don't care about what you identify as, really. We don't really care about like if you're gay or if you get married if you're gay. Like, I am a Christian. I have my certain beliefs about things because that's what the Bible says, and you can't rewrite the Bible or add to it or take away from it. But as far as I'm concerned, as far as like it bother me, it doesn't bother me because it's not, I'm not even paying attention. Like, I just don't want you to ask me to betray my God. That's all. Like, I'm not voting on anything either about that. I'm just gonna leave it alone because, in my opinion anyway, it doesn't really involve the, what do you call it, the government. So as far as that goes, I don't care, like, I don't, that's what I'm trying to say, is that people are not one-sided. People are multifaceted. People are complex, and if you ask me what I thought yesterday, it might not be the same as what I think today, but you can't just force it on people. But as far as I know I just keep jumping because, like I told you in the last video, I have ADHD, and I mean that. I hate when people make fun of that. But the point is, if no one knows what it means, and then, like I said, like, did it die back then? Because, like, I wanted to be, and she talks all this stuff about how young people wish that they could have been in that time. You can have that. You can have that if you just let people express themselves. And I don't know, I'm just tired of like the flipping back and forth, and no, it's about the music. No, it's not about this. And oh, look at this album art. It has this gothic architecture, but also it's not about the architecture. It's not about how you dress, but if you don't dress this way, then, or you don't dress in the acceptable way. I'm just saying. It just comes off as lame. It comes off like no one wants to be a part of this anymore. That's why so many people, even left-wing people, started saying that they were alt. And I've been seeing that before. You know, I've watched their videos. Even left-wing people, they're like, it's so toxic. I can't be here anymore. I'm just going to call myself alt. Why is it so toxic? I know I keep jumping from, like I said, about this noone girl. I think one problem is that it's filled with women. And like I've seen on TikTok, I've seen goth girls be like, this one, for instance, she was spraying bug spray at the camera and was like talking about conservative goths, basically saying that they're bugs and they need to be sprayed. And then when I went to comment on it, she would talk to everyone around me about me, and she wouldn't talk to me. That's the kind of mean girl behavior. And on top of that, all the sexualization and all that they do to themselves. And it's all like, in my opinion, it comes off as like just girls being toxic to each other. And I know we're all guilty of it to some degree. But my point is, it seems like because a lot of goths are women, they use it to be like, dunk on other women. Like, you're not goth, I'm goth. You know? And it's, a lot of it is also just women trying to do that because they want the male gaze, or whatever you call the male gaze. I'm not using it in a woke way. I'm saying like, they want guys to look at them and pay attention to them, and so they see other women as targets because you can't have that. That's mine. And I feel like it's all kind of intertwined. You know? That's why they say you're a pick-me. Because they automatically assume that you want validation. Because that's what they do. Not that you have a different opinion, because I was actually sitting there and explaining myself. She wasn't. She was dismissing me. And that's the problem I see. And I think it is a woman thing sometimes. Not entirely, obviously. I'm not blaming only women. And I think that's why she did that to that girl. Because that girl went silent. Not silent, but you could tell that changed, and so she became a little bit more private. Because, my personal opinion is because she was younger, and she was pretty. And she did kind of look like her, and I don't know. I feel like she saw her channel getting a little bit big. Oh, my mouth is so dry. And she made up this like weird ass, like, why, how dare you say goth is a mindset? Isn't it all a little bit true? Isn't it all just a little bit true? But this whole problem with like attacking somebody because they said goth is a mindset. Because at the end of the day, like, people are going to do what they're going to do. People are going to dress however they want to dress. And if it is just dressing that way, like you say all the time, then you say at the other side of your mouth that I don't care how people dress, you can dress however you want. I have heard people say, just call yourself darkly inclined. I'm guilty of this. Because I'm trying to explain something to somebody, but I'm trying to do it in a nice way. But the problem with it is, it doesn't make sense when you actually hold it up to scrutiny, because people are going to do what they're going to do. If they want to call themselves goth, and that goth is a mindset, by the way she was listening to the music, then just let them. Like, they're going to do it anyway. I mean, I guess she's still doing it. And good for her that she didn't stop, because that means that they won. But, like, let them, like, whatever. This is a long ass fucking video. But I need to like get more off my chest. Because if I don't, I guess people are just gonna say that I'm lying. And I know I still didn't get like those screenshots very good. I don't know if it's because I'm using my front camera, or maybe because now my brightness is like really high up. I don't know. You don't have to believe me, I guess, but, and I'm not like super tech savvy, or I would edit, and I probably could, like, I'm not dumb, like, I could probably figure it out. It's just one of those things where, like, I have like procrastination, and like, I usually do like push through things when it's something really creative, but like for some reason, like, in my brain, I'm just kind of like, I don't know if it's because of my ADHD, like, I'm just like, I hate bringing that up so many times, but it's like kind of like you don't even do it because you got like a mental block. I don't know how to explain it better than that, but yeah, and I'm trying to think of like other things that people say besides like goth is from punk, so you can't be conservative and like it and all that crap. I guess, like I said, it comes from post-punk. Post-punk was created to get away from punk, actually. And that's why there's a lot of bands that aren't goth that are post-punk. So, and a lot of it, if you want to talk about like screaming Jay Hawkins, and I hope I'm saying that right. I don't know why I feel like I'm not saying that right. I know who it is, right? But the point is, at the end of the day, like, all these music genres sort of are just like bled into each other. They just relate somehow in some way. So even music genres that aren't the same might have something to do with each other. So it's like music is just music. And I don't know why that's so hard for people to understand. Like, all this stuff was just created. This concept. This concept of being goth was created. It was accumulated by groups of people who probably don't all think the same because we're individuals. And at the end of the day, though, that's your thing. Like, that's you are still in charge of yourself. You're not in charge of your neighbor. Like, I'm sure probably nobody's gonna see this. But I had to say something, I guess. I just feel like I'm like constantly losing my train of thought. But besides saying that, you know, punk is from goth, or goth is from punk. Goths is more about like, the whole point was to be like individuals, to get away from that rigidity that was created. And now people are just doing it, but they're saying that they're not goth, but they're still goth. They just said that they just changed their label to get away from you. And as far as like all this stuff, I don't know. I said I'm losing my train of thought. I'm just saying, like, if you want to know what we're rebelling against, while you're telling us what to think and do all the time, we're rebelling against you. Because I know a lot of young people. I am pretty young myself. I'm not that old. But people, like, let's say my cousins. My cousin, he's like 18, 19 years old. His girlfriend, my other cousin, my little brothers, because I'm the oldest. A lot of them laugh at this shit. They laugh. they think it's cringe, because it is. A lot of it is. That's why, and that's another thing, is they want to make fun of conservatives and say that we're all cringy. Oh my god, you believe in traditional values? You're so fucking stupid for believing in stuff that people have believed in for centuries. The things that created societies. This society that you live in. Oh my god, you believe in a Jesus? You believe in God? How cringe. They laugh at you. You live in a glass house throwing rocks. Libs of TikTok will go out of business if y'all weren't constantly posting your shit online, acting the way y'all do sometimes. Okay? So y'all can hide behind Angela Benedict, because I'm not gonna lie, she's a pretty girl, or a lady. She's a pretty lady. A lot of y'all want to make fun of people's looks. Y'all hiding behind Angela Benedict when you know damn well you look like, what's that chick, or that trans person? The Gorlock, the Destroyer? Yeah, that's y'all. Some of y'all, or some of y'all, they, thems. You look like fucking, I don't know, like a damn Muppet character or something. Yeah, I got the colored hair. But y'all want to get mad about... I could pull up statistics if you want to know. Because people on the right are statistically better looking, but it's not all genetic, obviously. Some of it is just simply that a lot of us choose to just not go out of our way to make ourselves totally unattractive. And y'all say and you want to get mad at me, they say it themselves. Like when Trump was elected and all these women started shaving their heads and was like, we're doing this to be ugly to men. Pissed off a lot of people with cancer, and rightfully so. But they admitted themselves that they don't want to look like a woman. They don't want to look like a man. They want to be like in between. And okay, androgynous, fine, but like some of this stuff is just obviously performative. Like most of it is. That's another thing, is you can't talk about defying gender norms. Like I said, it's not the 80s. Being androgynous was like sort of its own thing. It was kind of like, I'm gonna dress what I want to dress like, and that's fine. Like, I'm not saying anybody shouldn't be able to dress how they want to dress, do whatever you want to do. I'm just saying, glass houses. And androgynous in the 80s is a lot different than what they're doing now, because a lot of these people are saying that they're they, thems, and they're queer because they so desperately want to be a part of that community or whatever. And I'm like, be flamboyant, be whatever. But I'm just saying, like, a lot of y'all aren't doing this because this is you. You pretend like you're an individual. You pretend. You make believe. You put on a costume. You can say that shit about me. I don't give a fuck. You put on a costume so you can be a part of this marginalized community, because everybody nowadays needs to be oppressed. Because you get brownie points for being oppressed. And these young people, like I'm talking about my cousins and stuff that are like 18, 19 years old, they think this shit is stupid. Because it is stupid. You make up all these invisible fucking rules about who's supposed to do this and you're not supposed to say that. A lot of young people don't want to be told what to do. That's rebellion. You want to talk about being rebellious and you can't be conservative because you're not against the norms. The new norm is to be a fucking lefty. Like I said, the richest people on earth, the World Economic Forum, politicians defending y'all when you go riot in the street. Like Maxine Waters telling people a couple years ago, go get in their faces while they're eating dinner with their family. You got politicians jerking you guys off, making excuses for you. You got, and all you want to talk about is January 6th, a few hours of people just walking through the damn White House. I don't give a fuck. Coming for me. Yeah, there were some people that were rioting and they suck. I'm saying that you can't keep on bringing up January 6th when every fucking month is a new riot. Okay, a new riot. It's riot season. It's peaceful protest season. It's riot season. It's peaceful protest season. You know, like Looney Tunes. It's duck season. It's rabbit season. you got this stuff being taught in colleges, these stupid ass degrees that y'all get sometimes, where it's like, you guys need to look up the Frankfurt School. I can't speak. Y'all need to look up and do some actual research about why this stuff is being taught. And by the way, why does every lefty thing comes from a terrible person? Like, y'all can call us all Nazis, right? But you know who created that gender theory stuff about trans and kids? It's because this kid, I believe his name was David. I don't know why I can't remember things right now. But he had a twin brother. They were both bros. They were both dudes. And when he was a little baby, he was supposed to have a circumcision. And the thing is that the circumcision didn't go right because I think it was like a laser or something they were using. I don't know why they were using lasers. It was like the 70s. I don't know. Technology. But anyway. And it accidentally cut off this little baby's, you know what. And so these parents, they're desperate, you know. And they see this guy on TV, I believe. And he had a book and everything. And he was all for, like, he had like a, I'm trying to remember. He had like a deep disdain for men and stuff. And he was, my brain's a little, I used to know these things. I can usually remember names and stuff. Okay, but when you have to learn more stuff every day, sometimes you're just going to forget some stuff. But you remember the important stuff. And they were desperate to help their kid, and he had all this stuff about gender theory and all this stuff, and you can raise your kid as a girl, and it'll be fine. This guy was kind of a lunatic, if you actually look at him up and like look up what he believed in. And what happened instead was, the whole time this kid was growing up, being raised as a girl, and it turned out that he was doing all these things like standing up and stuff that boys typically do, acting like a boy, you know what I mean, acting like, I know that there are like tomboys and stuff, like, I get that, but the point is, acting like a boy, like a typical, and he didn't feel like a girl, he felt like something was wrong, because something was wrong, because he had an accident when he was a baby, and they thought that they could change it. And all the meanwhile, every time that they went to a appointment with this doctor, it was him and his brother, and the doctor would literally have them like perform things in adult ways, trying to keep it friendly, in front of him, and record it. And I'm just saying, this stuff actually happened. Y'all need to do some research. Let's talk about Margaret Sanger, shall we? From Planned Parenthood. Again, you could call us Nazis, but y'all don't want to accept where a lot of your institutions come from. Okay, Margaret Sanger used to host parties with KKK members, and she's the founder of Planned Parenthood. And the whole point of this whole abortion thing was to get rid of the undesirables, eugenics. Now you can say that's not applicable today. I'm just saying, if y'all want to go on and on about slavery from 200 years ago, y'all have no room to talk, okay? Listen. Just sit down and listen. So, let's talk about all these Democrats and this supposed flipping of the parties. Like, they all just chose to switch places or something. Okay. All the Democrats used to be, the KKK was like a strong arm, like a illegal sort of military of the Democratic Party back in those days. Lyndon B. Johnson said, you know, he'd have these N-words voting Democrat for 200 more years because he didn't really care. All these Democrats were Democrats all the way into the 2000s. Only two people changed. Strom Thurmond and this other guy. All these other Democrats stayed on till their 70s or something, until they died in the early 2000s or even later. A lot of these people were congratulated that are known to have supported the KKK or something like that. being congratulated by people like Hillary Clinton. You want to call Trump racist? I'm just saying, like, y'all don't know shit. Y'all don't know anything. That's why I said you're politically illiterate. Maybe I'll forget some of the things I used to know better, and I used to know all the names and used to know all this stuff, but that's because I kept the important stuff. I had to push out, my brain has to push out all the unimportant stuff so I can get more information. That's how your brain works. But you're talking about, you wish that Hillary had won back then over Trump? Everybody used to love Trump until 2 seconds ago because the TV told them to. Because the TV told you to? Because the TV said they was deporting all the Mexicans? Y'all people are crazy. Y'all over here talking about on TikTok, like, concentration camps and stuff. I'm like, y'all can't, or that he's throwing people out of airplanes. Y'all are really saying this because you want it to be true. That's another thing. That's sick as fuck. You think, as long as it gets at Donald Trump somehow, even though y'all look dumb, you look insane, that if it gets at Donald Trump, the big bad orange man, then you don't care. You wish that he was doing all this sick shit. And that means that says a lot more about you, that you wish it was happening. That you wish all this racism was around. You wish all this bad stuff was true. Again, do some research, by the way. Those concentration camps got beds in them. It's AC. There's AC in them. It's got shelter. You go back and watch footage of, like, Obama or Joe Biden. They had those people baking in the sun. No shelter. Yeah, they have to have the cages. You know what the cages are? They're so people don't run away. They're not cages, dude. For instance, even if you didn't do a crime, for instance, but somebody wants to talk to you about somebody else doing a crime, and you have to listen to the cops. You have to go to the police station. You got to sit in the room. You got to answer their questions. Are you in prison? No. But you're not allowed to go anywhere for that period of time. You know why? That's called being detained. And then when you got these kids dying, in these floods, and you got, again, nobody wants to talk about all the anti-white racism that's actually out there with Carmelo Anthony and this bitch talking about those little girls deserve to die because they're white. And there's a white Christian conservative. Of course, she had to say conservative. Like it's a slur, but it's not. We don't give a fuck. Talking about all these girls, they deserve to die, apparently, because they were all white. And she was making up stuff about how this is a school. There's not school, but a camp. A camp that is all white. It was not exclusive to white people, but that's what she was saying. It wasn't. It was just the fact that you see a lot of white people in one group. Everybody else can have their fucking group. Everybody else can have their group. They can even actually exclude you. And that's called having spaces for them. And then when it's white people and it's on accident and it's just a coincidence, all of a sudden it's okay to make fun of dead children. Y'all don't want to talk about the real racism in the room. You want to talk, like I said, about Angela and these people. They only talk about controversial shit when it's not controversial. They want to talk about the same old stuff. Fetishizing goth girls. Let's see, what else? Oh, black people can be goth. That's about it. So, I hope somebody watches this video. Maybe they won't watch it all the way through. I don't give a shit. The point is, I wish I could get that screenshot on there just a little bit better. I might look it up one more time on my phone. Just at least the one about her calling me white supremacist. Just in case. Because the whole point of me making this video was not just to, like, talk my mind, but also to prove I'm not lying. So I'm trying to find it. And also, I want to say this because I told her this. She wants to talk about colorism, but like, how come colorism only goes one way? Like, because I'm lighter skinned. My brothers are darker than me, by the way. Like my stepdad and my real dad are brown. My brothers are more caramelish. I just happen to be whiter. How come I'm told by my family that even though I'm 40% Native American, that means Hispanic, but also Cherokee, that well, not Hispanic is not the right word, but you know what I mean. Huasteco. That that I'm not really Mexican because it doesn't matter. Like, dude, you were related to me. Why are you saying this? Like, you should know. Like, you know my dad. What? I don't know. So they were like, I doubt you're even that much. So like, yeah, colorism exists both ways. Just like racism. Oh fuck, I think I went too far. La 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 la. Well, you already got the one about the whole incels and stuff. I don't know what the fuck. I can't find shit when I need to. Okay, maybe you can get that one a little bit better. The fuck? I'ma just zoom in on it. How about that? How about that? You would think if I zoomed in, it'd be better. So you could tell that's her. That's not, like, I'm not faking that shit. I'm just saying. White supremacist. You really went for 3 whole comments to justify being a white supremacist. You're not goth. Deal with it. That's what she said to me. A Hispanic. And yeah, I know I went a little bit down the deep with her a little bit. I know I did. But I told her, you can't just be like, this queen empathy right here. Empathy queen right here. She thinks she's queen of empathy. Big brained Angela. Queen of empathy. More like smooth brain. Again, you can disagree with me if you want to, but I'm just saying, don't fucking come in my comments talking shit about me. Because I didn't ask to be called that. I told you what I said. Did it sound like that needed to be said? Okay. Do what you want to do. I mean, there's one last fucking thing. If I started thinking to myself, before this even happened, I was thinking to myself, like, this has been happening to me all the time. No matter what I do, like, I say one little thing, and it's like, you know what I mean? I'm white supremacist all of a sudden. All the time. All the time. Okay, so, that's why I'm thinking to myself lately, like, I stopped trying to dress goth. I stopped, and I still will, you know, but like I said, I've never been like the one to like be like, you can't tell me what to wear. I'm gonna wear what I want to wear. I want to dress in my house pants. I'm gonna wear my house pants. I want to wear my Daria t-shirt. I'm gonna wear my Daria t-shirt. But the whole thing is like, I stopped trying, and I stopped listening to the music. I stopped doing all this stuff because of people like that. And not for very long. I mean, every now and again I still will, but it's because it kind of just gives like me a bad taste in my mouth now. Not because I don't like the music, and not because I don't like the fashion, and I don't like spooky stuff. I've always loved spooky stuff. But because, like I said, this comes off as like a subculture that's for like all like conformists. It's all conformity. They think, because they dress in black and they dress like they think that somehow by telling you what to do all the time, that means that they're nonconformist, but they're telling you to conform. You know that scene in South Park where it was like, you know, all you gotta do to be goth is to wear the same clothes as us and listen to the same music. To be a nonconformist, I mean, I don't know. He was like, okay, that's what the goth guy said, right? Or even famously, like in that one scene in South Park, I love the goth kids from South Park. They're just like, no, 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 no. I'm not gonna be in your faggy talent show. Whatever, y'all can get mad at me if you want. While he's in the talent show. Okay. Whatever makes you feel happy, because you guys need that echo chamber. You need that safe space. You can get mad at me for the language I use. I don't give a fuck. Okay? Did I call anyone anything? I mean, I called Angela a retard, but I mean, she shouldn't have called me white supremacist. Punching down, but they don't mind punching down, honestly. That's why if somebody wants to make a damn video about me, I'm being... Anyway, that was the video. I know it was very long. It was even longer than my first video. Way longer. I just had a lot of stuff I had to get off my head, and it's off my mind, and it's not easy to do that when you're you have ADHD and you're like fucking losing your train of thought. My hair, it's usually a lot better looking, y'all. This chick fucking made my bangs go all the way back for some reason. I don't know. But yeah, and maybe my next video will be about something else, because I really don't want to talk about this bitch anymore. I just wanted to put it out there, just so everybody knows that I'm not lying. Hopefully I got the screenshot in there well, like I said the first time. Of course, I probably didn't, because I'm fucking bad at recording things. Maybe my next video will be about something like, I was thinking about like showing you stuff that I have, like weird stuff that I have, or maybe even stuff that I've made. I like to make different things. I've made a few dolls before, and I think they'd be cool to like show off. And maybe just crafts in general, or you know, maybe there's a lot of stuff that I'm interested in. The problem is like YouTube is so about like getting those clicks, because people think that matters, I guess. But who's gonna watch you if you don't have anything, right? If you don't have like, there's a reason why people stick to one topic usually, and I can't stick to one topic. I gotta talk about everything. I gotta show everything. Oh, maybe I'll show you guys, whoever wants to see it, maybe I'll show like a tour of this cemetery that's in my town. It's a really old historical cemetery. It's not exactly my town. I don't know. It is, but it's like sort of out there. I'm in the deep south, so like a lot of stuff is, there's like in town, because the center of town used to be like down, not far from my house. That's why it looks a little old school over there. That used to be the center of town back in the day. But now the stuff like the Walmart, all the restaurants are like farther that way. I don't know how to explain it, but all of these, yeah, like these, when you actually like drive around here, there's actually trees to see, like unlike a lot of other places. I know there's trees over there, I'm just saying, like just trees everywhere. And you know, that's why I don't, unlike a lot of other goths, I don't really give a crap about, I like living in the south. I think people over here are kind of chill, actually. I know people like have bad experiences, but I'm just saying, like, I think people are pretty chill. I like country people too. My nana was pretty country. If you heard her, she didn't say ruin, by the way. Like for instance, she would say like ruined. She was like, I don't know how to explain it. She's annoying, but she was also kind of funny and cool. So I miss my nana. But the point is, like, yeah, like maybe I'll show you that cemetery, because it's a pretty cool cemetery. It's got like this old church that is like made of wood. I don't explain that, sounds stupid. But it's like made of like it's like old school looking, like it looks rustic, you know. And yes, there are a lot of like Confederate like soldiers buried out there, so it's a really old cemetery. And it's like out I think you guys would like it. Whoever wanted to see that, I think I will. And I did try to make a video like years ago, and edit it and everything about going to the cemetery in Savannah. That cemetery is so big. I walked all the way to the back of it, but it's so big. I couldn't see my car. When I kept walking, I was there with my mom. That's one reason why I couldn't record the damn video, because she's gonna be annoying. She's like, turn off the phone. I'm trying to talk to you. And I'm like, I'm recording you because I'm listening. Anyway, I really wanted to get that in there. Maybe I will, just a little bit that I got. I don't know if I could find it. But, yeah. So, if anybody liked what I had to say, or if anybody had a problem with it, like in my last video, what are you gonna do? Come arrest me? Cancel me? Prove me right? I don't know. You're gonna attack me online? Y'all gotta get a life, I guess. But, I think this is gonna be my last video talking about her, because it's really not worth my mental energy. That's why I was wanting to go into more detail and actually show screenshots and actually, like, I did, but, you know what I mean, like, edit it, but I just didn't, because, like I said, it's not really worth my mental energy. I can talk about it like this. I don't have to go edit it and stuff like I'm a big YouTuber. Like, that'll come eventually, maybe, but I feel like I like it like this. I like things being real. I like being real. I don't necessarily want to, like, have highly edited videos and stuff. I guess it'd be kind of cool at least to just have, like, inserts of, like, scenes from movies and things. I think that'd be cool, because that way I can actually, like, show my humor a little bit more better. But yeah, maybe my next video will be about that. Or if anybody sees this and likes it, then tell me which one do you think is the best idea. Alright. Bye-bye.